Alright, this is Fantasy Rasta. I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about my NBA sheet today for November 15th. Follow me on Twitter at Fantasy Rasta. Talk about music, I post articles, interesting things. Obviously, I'm a sports fanatic, so you're going to find out, or you're going to see articles that are related to sports. Check us out at the dfscave.com. Got your DFS needs as far as with tools and things that we can offer to help you have a better DFS experience. So I'm going to jump right into this. I'm going to start with the top three teams that I like tonight: the Lakers, Miami, and Philadelphia. They all have the highest score, which is a 4.25. The Lakers are in the top game with Philadelphia, so two of my top three teams are in the top game. You've got the Lakers, which you need assists and field goal attempts. So that's going to be like Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Brook Lopez, Jordan Clarkson. For Miami, you want three-pointers and field goal attempts. It's going to be Dragic, Dion Waiters, James Johnson's definitely in play. They're one of the top four games, so they're actually tied for third. So, I like Whiteside in this game, so definitely consider him. Philadelphia, you're looking for a three-point shooter, so that's Covington. Embiid will shoot the three. Don't ignore Ben Simmons. He's had a couple bad games, but he is in the top game. So consider him. He's going to be probably getting a lot of matchups against these undersized Lakers guards. So then you got Charlotte. Charlotte at Cleveland, or Cleveland at Charlotte's my number 2 game. Assists, three-pointers, and field goal attempts. You can consider Batum. I like Kemba. It's a number 2 game, so Dwight Howard I would consider coming off a bad game. Jeremy Lamb maybe, but Batum coming back kind of throws a wrench in things, so I'm not 100% sure where the minutes are going to divvy up, where the usage is, how the usage is going to be spread out. So that's why I'm kind of hesitant to give you too many names for Cleveland, but I definitely would consider Kemba Walker for sure. Cleveland, assist, three-pointers, and field goal attempts. That's LeBron, that's Kevin Love, that's going to be J.R. Smith. They're the number 2 game, so definitely consider a stud. LeBron's got a great matchup. Kevin Love's coming off a bad game. I don't know if I really like his matchup against Dwight Howard. So that would probably force me to lean a little bit more towards LeBron. Jeff Green as well, off the bench. Don't forget about Jeff Green. For Portland, number 6 game against Orlando at Portland, assists and three-pointers. So you want McCollum, Lillard, Evan Turner. San Antonio, they're the number 7 game. They're at Minnesota. Assists, three-pointers, and field goal attempts. Aldridge, Gasol, Patty Mills, Danny Green, you can throw him in there. I don't mind Kyle Anderson. Doesn't really have a lot of upside, but Rudy Gay is in play for sure. Toronto and New Orleans, rebounds. I don't really like focusing on rebounds against DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. But numbers say that it should be Ibaka or Valanciunas having good rebounding games. I like Lowry too, since he's one of the few guards on the team that actually rebounds. It's actually my number 3 game. So yeah, definitely get some exposure there. You probably want a volume shooter, a scorer, so you can consider DeRozan. You probably want to go with the guards against New Orleans. If you think about it, you probably don't want to attack them underneath the rim with Cousins and Anthony Davis there. Sacramento. Atlanta at Sacramento, so we're talking about Sacramento. So you want rebounds, assists, field goal attempts. Willie Cauley-Stein, Blake Hill, George Hill, De'Aaron Fox. Zach Randolph fits that mold really well. It's just a matter of how many minutes he's going to get. That's always a concern with Randolph. And if he doesn't do well on a short amount of minutes, then that could be a player that burns you. But it kind of sounds like he should have a good matchup, especially against Atlanta, in a game that I think should be pretty high, which I believe should be high paced. Or have more points than what Vegas expects, which is 204.5 as of right now. Utah, you see all 4 of the categories are lit up. They're playing the Knicks. They've had 3 or 4 bad games in a row. They're on the road. I can see this being a nice little contrarian stack. You've got Ricky Rubio off his worst game of the season. You've got Ingles off the worst game of the season. Favors is going to be in play. He's a pretty popular play right now. Donovan Mitchell, consider him. So even though the game is low, they've got 4 categories. So there's going to be a multi-category guy that I think has a good game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Rubio after he just burned everyone, like really burned everyone. But consider him in the GPP. I'll probably throw him in one. New Orleans, again, that's a top 3 game. 3-point shooters. That's Cousins, Anthony Davis. You'll get that sometimes from Drew Holiday and Etuan Moore. So top 3 game. Consider a stud from New Orleans, or a value player that is going to shoot the 3. Atlanta, you've got number 5 game at Sacramento, rebounds. So you're thinking Dedmon, Babbitt, Taurean Prince. Those are guys that are going to get you those rebounds. Memphis, rebounds and assists. That's going to be Gasol, James Ennis. That's all I can think of right now. But Gasol is due for a big game. He started off strong in the first half of the last game and faded during the second half. So hopefully he turns that into at least 3 quarters tonight. So consider him as a GPP play. You've got Minnesota against San Antonio. You're looking for assists. So that's Jeff T. That's Jimmy Butler after coming off of two strong assist games. Consider them for sure. Orlando and Portland. Rebounds, 3-pointers, field goals. Aaron Gordon fits this mold beautifully. Vucevic fits this. So I would consider a big with Orlando. Elfrid Payton is a multi-category player, so you could consider him. You're not really going to get the 3-pointers from Aaron Gordon. You're going to get them more so from Vucevic. So, but they actually both shoot the 3. So consider both of them. Like I said, Terrence Ross will shoot the 3. Fournier is going to shoot the 3. He's going to take a high volume amount of shots, and he could rebound a little bit. Jonathan Simmons. Orlando looks like a solid team. They've got some options here, and just don't overlook them. I know they're the number 16 down here, but they also have the 2nd highest Vegas spread. Well, 3rd highest if you consider these two are tied, and they'd be tied with Washington and Miami. So yeah, definitely consider them. Washington, I have nobody lit up, or no categories with an asterisk. So you want a stud. They're playing, where they play Miami. So John Wall, Bradley Beal, Otto Porter, those are players that you want to consider. Chicago at OKC. It's actually it's my number 10 ranked game. Got one of the lowest Vegas totals. Rebounds, assists, and 3-pointers. So that's Mark Cannon. I know who's out for Chicago. What's his name? Justin Holiday's out. So now you'll have Valentine, you'll have Chris Dunn. They're going to give you 3 points. So, 3-point shots. So this seems a little bit more like a guards. Like the guards right here. You can consider Robin Lopez as options. But I would probably focus more so on a volume shooter. And well, to be honest, it's a low-scoring game. And typically I target centers and big men in low-scoring games. So Robin Lopez and Mark Cannon could be decent options. I think they also have who do they get back? They got somebody else back. I can't think of who it is. Quincy Pondexter. So I don't know how many minutes he's gonna get, but he might be in the rotation playing a little power forward. So for Detroit, you want assists. So that actually fits Drummond. Believe it or not, Van Gundy's got this man being a playmaker, making passes and stuff. So if you look at his numbers, he's actually getting a good amount of assists each game. Reggie Jackson, Avery Bradley, I would consider somewhat. Ish Smith. That's pretty much where I would go with Detroit. They're actually it has the lowest score that game, Detroit and Milwaukee. And that Vegas total wasn't really nice. So I probably would consider more so the big men. So I think that would fit Drummond a little bit better. Indiana, assists, 3-pointers, and field goal attempts. They're against Memphis, number 8 ranked game. Oladipo, consider Darren Collison, I guess. Sabonis, yeah, consider Sabonis. So, and I have by the way, I have Indiana green. That's because they have 3 or more categories. So this, even though they're ranked with a low score, I would still consider them, or consider getting exposure to players from this game. even with this here. These three categories say that there's bound to be a decent game coming in one of these three or multiple categories for Indiana. Oklahoma City, rebounds and assists. Adams might be out, so Paul George will get a boost in rebounds. Westbrook will get a boost in rebounds. Melo might be out as well, so that'll definitely help both of them. I forgot Oklahoma City center, but consider playing him. Once I do my a little bit more research on the slate, I'll be able to give you those names. The assists, obviously that's Westbrook. Paul George will get you a handful, or that's primarily Westbrook's responsibility. Milwaukee, they got a 0, so does New York. So again, anytime you see a 0, or if you see a team with like one category, you definitely want to consider the player that is either the superstar of the team or the player that contributes in that category. So for Milwaukee, they're a 0, so their strongest player is Giannis. Their assist is the category that's lit up. Their best assist player is Giannis. So you probably want to consider Giannis. And then we've got New York. They're also a 0. Their best player obviously is Porzingis. They were looking for assists, 3-pointers, and field goal attempts. Porzingis contributes in all of those. Tim Hardaway Jr. also contributes in these. Against Utah is a little bit scary, so I don't know if I would have exposures to both in any lineups. But with Gobert out, that should open up the door a little bit for Porzingis to have a better game, and he might go overlooked because people are afraid of Utah's defense. But you have to consider that they don't have Hayward from last year, and Rudy Gobert is hurt. So those are two strong defenders that held it down over the last few years. And now I've gone over the games. These are the games you want exposure to: Philadelphia at LA, Cleveland at Charlotte, Toronto at New Orleans, Washington at Miami. It's like your top tier games, and then you include these second tier games. So you've got a total of 7 games that I like: Atlanta, Sacramento, Orlando, and Portland, San Antonio at Minnesota. So definitely get some superstars from these top 4 games. The first tier, you've probably got a decent amount of value in these games, definitely with the scores, and then you've got the top 3 Vegas totals in these games. So go ahead and chase Vegas today. It's probably a good idea. And then I just wanted to show you this real quick. So what I typically like to do is kind of see where I feel like there's a lot of value on the slate. So the things I look at is first the number of games. So I've got 11 games. It's 22 teams. When I'm looking at these categories, like say for instance, if you were going and making lineups, and these are for people that use projection sites, but if you're going and making lineups and you're considering putting players in groups, what you want to do is look and see how many players are going to be contributing in this category on the slate. And if 40% of the players, 40% of the teams contribute to this category on the slate, then you definitely want to consider having a group that is going to include you playing a couple of these players. So for example, if you look at field goal attempts, again, we've got 22 teams. So we're looking for 40%. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you've got 10 out of 22. That's 45%. So 45% of the teams have this category lit up. So I'm definitely going to want a group that's going to have the team's volume shooter or player or top 2 shooters from these 11 teams. So that's going to give me a list of 22 players that I'm going to be choosing from. Then you've got the 3-point shot. Same thing. I think they've got 12, so you want a 3-point shooter from these teams. The assists is the same concept. I think rebounds is the only one that doesn't go over that 40%. So you want to find, it feels like a guard day. I'm just going to say it feels like a day for the guards with these categories lit up. But I hope this helps. Again, there'll be more videos. I know that this one was a little bit lengthy, but I just wanted to add a little bit more. Again, follow me on Twitter at Fantasy Rasta. Check us out at thedfscave.com. Thanks again for watching. I hope you guys cash big tonight, and see you tomorrow.